Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and today another stream with me and Caden, and today we're going to be looking at some different things. In our last stream we said we were going to cover some geography conspiracy theories, so over the flat earth, and we didn't, but along with that we're going to be talking about some weird things that don't usually happen, and that we have experienced ourselves, and then we'll be looking at some other odd experiences, including the Mandela effect. We're going to have a look, and if you guys might have experienced any of these, this might be a way to look over it. And also after that we might be looking at some other stuff to do with space maybe, and also some abstract theories and channels that we actually like. So Riddle, do you know Riddle? Can you used to
Of
watch
course
that,
I
right?
do. Yeah, that
Yeah.
that one was addictive.
Yeah. So we'll react to some of those videos, and possibly some Vsauce videos, because we know how good his videos are. And also, I don't know if you want to, Caden, but I was thinking of reacting to some of Shane Dawson's conspiracy theories.
I've seen some of his videos.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you should.
yeah, I want to
Yeah,
have a look at especially the heaven and hell theories one, and we'll talk about some theories as well. So yeah, it's going to be a very long and very uh you know rounded sort of
yeah.
stream. So we have pretty much everything planned already. But if we go off
And
track,
also,
what you got?
with the geographical um things, are we going to be looking at hurricanes and ways that can be made and stuff? Like that.
Yeah, after the Hollow Earth, we'll possibly look at
Yeah,
some stuff to do with that. So I'll I'll quickly talk. That will lead on to my experiences.
yeah.
But I'll also talk about some things that weird has happened with the storms, and then after I've gone over that, I'm going to leap into my experiences and then go over that, and then that's how it will
Yeah,
transition. Okay, so let's
yeah,
begin with our first video. Are you on my stream, Caden?
yeah. I'm on the stream.
Okay, right. We're gonna watch the video now, and
Yeah,
no.
Many conspiracy theorists believe that there is an unknown civilization living beneath the surface of the Earth. The Hollow Earth theory is a myth that's been going around for centuries, with some scientists even trying to prove the concept. Until recently, it was difficult to say whether the theory was true or not. However, in 1968, a picture emerged taken by a satellite orbiting Earth, which some say clearly showed a gaping hole located at the North Pole. Today we'll be taking a look at 5 strange theories that a hollow Earth exists. Number 5. The North Pole. During the early 1970s, a project belonging to the Department of Commerce of United States ESSA allowed the media access to images of the North Pole taken by the ESSA-7 satellite on November 23, 1968. A photograph emerged of the North Pole covered by clouds. However, another photo showed the same location without clouds, revealing a huge hole where the pole was supposed to be.
Well, I want to say something about this. We don't exactly know what the pole is because, it's been locked off for scientific research. So if there was something extra normal there, say for example, maybe there is something about Earth that we don't know. So, for example, that the magnetic field could be the interference here that could be causing a phenomenon that involves the appearance of a hole here. So there could be
yeah.
many ulterior explanations. Do you have any ideas, Ken?
Well, another idea I had was, you know, it, it's really hard to explain, but
Just
it's
in the
just
simplest terms.
how can I say this?
What's the main premise of what you're gonna say?
You know, there's still, it's like the last stream that we did, the video we're watching. They were trying to they were trying to give us like the facts that they have, even though they can still be flipped on them and proven to be wrong.
Yep.
If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So in a way, I still kind of don't believe this.
I've got two things to say about it mostly. The first thing is that you're not exactly going to completely trust the camera abilities of 1968, are you? I mean,
No,
that's my
we're
first
in
doubt.
the 21st century.
And my second doubt is that there could be some form of energy that we haven't experienced or haven't seen on the spectrum, so other than infrared electromagnetic, that could be causing some sort of interference to the camera that causes the effect of a hole, or could simply just be the electromagnetic effects of the pole discerning what is actually at the pole, if there is such thing at the pole where there is such a high amount of electromagnetic interference. That's my theory. Well, that's my idea of how, this is explained. Let's continue with the video.
Number 4. Richard E. Byrd. Vice Admiral Richard E. Byrd worked in the United States Navy and was a distinguished pioneer aviator and polar explorer. On May the 9th, 1926, Byrd flew over the North Pole and also led numerous expeditions to Antarctica. On the 29th of November 1929, he went on another expedition over the South Pole. Byrd and his team later carried out a large-scale operation called High Jump, in which he discovered and mapped 1,390,000 square kilometres of the Antarctic territory. Byrd claims he flew over other large holes in the Earth, which he says brought him face to face with evidence of a hollow Earth. He wrote several articles and books related to the topic. Number 3, the third.
Wait, it just said that. So what? So if there's apparently like some sort of sinkhole, and it even said that there's multiple holes, how is that proof that the entire Earth has nothing inside it? Hollow
Exactly.
Earth.
The
So,
sinkhole doesn't even go that far. Well, it goes far, but not
but-
far enough to prove that the Earth is hollow.
and also, just because there's holes, there's like specific holes where there's been researched, doesn't mean that that it goes all the way in. Like if he really wanted to see, he could just he had planes, Richard E. Byrd. He could have just flown right through the hole if he believed there's something was in it, couldn't he? But obviously
Yeah.
he obviously didn't do that. So I beg to differ with this one. Anything I should say? Again?
Well, not really, honestly.
Okay,
You
let's
know,
continue.
I kind of already said it's just because if they're proven to there to be a sinkhole there, it doesn't prove anything about the Earth actually being hollow.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue with the video.
Reich map. This map of the Third Reich shows several secret passages which they state were used by German U-boats to access mysterious underground regions. The map also contained
Once again, if there was such a map if such a map is actually reliable, just because there might be some underground areas that they confiscated for themselves that they can use, doesn't mean that the entire Earth is hollow. Just because there's some underground sections, there is such thing as caves. There are also underground sections. So I don't really understand where they're coming from here. And if it was so deep in the ground, as they're obviously trying to make the analogy here that it's deep in the ground, then how would they not burn to death? Be fried alive. They would. So
Exactly,
it's
and that's
obviously not
another
that deep.
thing.
Yeah. Go on.
I'm pretty sure that there is a core of the Earth, is there not?
Yeah, there is, and that's why there's gravity,
And
because of the
yeah,
increased mass. The core is made out of mostly iron, and that's what makes it so massive. It's because
but the thing is, if
yeah, go on.
they're saying that it's a complete hole straight through, so if it's a complete hole straight through, like
Yeah, what's keeping the Earth
how
together?
are the what is keeping the Earth together, and how is the earthquakes and mountains being made? It would be impossible because without the core, the mantle wouldn't be moving the plates and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. There would have been no magmatic sort of interference here, and there would have been no stuff that's happening. One of the theories to do with biogenesis is panspermia, which states that meteorites carried life and what else onto Earth. Now, one of the things and inferences that can be made from the panspermia hypothesis, or more theory, as it's been more proven, is that it shows that possibly when the meteorites hit Earth, it caused the interior of the Earth to begin continental drift mechanisms such as that, and that was held up
Mm.
by the fact that when you go deeper into the earth, there's different materials. So you got the magma and everything. So without that, there would have been no, mechanisms that would cause, because you can't just magically create land. You can't
Exactly.
you can't magically move the plates. Like, take this for an example. If the Earth was completely hollow and it was just like a shell, the shell of a planet, really, then what's causing the plates to move
Yeah,
across?
that's what I was trying to say. Like, it would literally be impossible.
Another thing that I've heard them say is that like there's some sort of a civilization living like deep inside the Earth, and like
Yeah, sure
the
it is.
second sun. Oh, but where's the evidence? If there was such a thing, then wouldn't we be striving to find out? As anything else, we'd be striving to find out. So yeah, let's continue.
Yeah.
Complete locations of both hemispheres and the mysterious kingdom of Agartha. A crew member aboard the U-boat Carl Junger wrote letters stating that the crew had reached the interior of the Earth.
What? No, by then they wouldn't be able to, write a letter because they would have already fried to death.
Exactly.
And also,
Mm.
I have to say this once again. Just because somebody wrote something doesn't mean it's true. Like J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter, but if it was put down as non-fiction, obviously you wouldn't believe it's true, would you? Like just because
No,
this isn't stated as fiction doesn't necessarily, you know, yeah, validate what it's saying. Anything to add on to that, Finn?
not really.
You sure?
No, I'm just trying to comprehend.
How somebody can just take any personal testimony and state it as true?
Exactly, and that's the thing. If someone can do it once, do it
Then,
again.
yeah, then it
Why
could be
can't they do it
repeated.
again?
Then why can't they
Yeah,
video it as well? Why can't they video
yeah.
it? And I think this is the North Pole as well. So there's no restrictions on the North Pole. It's Antarctica is the one that people say is the problem. So I don't exactly see what's wrong with this. Retesting. Okay, let's continue.
These incredible maps of the Third Reich depicted the Antarctic continent without its thick layer of ice. However, the most intriguing details are the presence of underwater passages, which span across the entire continent and seem
Oh no, there's rivers in Antarctica. That means that the Earth is hollow. Do you know what they said that underwater passages? Oh my god, there's caves in water. There's caves in water in Antarctica. That means there's a massive hole in the middle of the Earth. It doesn't prove anything.
Yeah,
Go on.
it because there was a video that I was watching, and it was basically saying that there is actually a secret layer of water. I think it was either just
Yeah,
before
no,
or
no.
just after the mantle.
Yeah, but that's scientifically proven. But it's more like a scattering of water, and
Yeah,
you can't get through there without getting burnt to death. And that water's going to be very hot as well. So and also it's scattered in like little sort of you know, there's like crevices in the Earth's core, not the Earth's core, but like the interior of the Earth, and this is where the water formed. And that's also another thing that possibly proves panspermia, is that when meteorites hit the Earth, they got deep into the Earth, and water that was created on the surface, some of it didn't rise to the surface, and it kind of just leveled in the Earth. But that doesn't mean like those aren't big enough to encompass an entire civilization, and it also doesn't say that the Earth is completely hollow. So, yeah.
to converge at the exact location which is identified as the opening towards the hollow Earth or inner Earth. Number 2, the Makushi Indians. The Makushi Indians, an indigenous people who live in the Amazon, claim to know about the existence of a hollow Earth nearly 100 years ago.
Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure that most indigenous peoples, or most people who uh, are like tribal, they listen to stories made up by their parents and ancestors and go, "Oh my God, there's a hollow Earth." I can make up a story about a crocodile eating my nan's head off. It doesn't make it true, but just because you might believe it in generations to come, because it's constantly repeated. I don't know if this might be true for you, but like religion, for instance. One person in the past might have wrote a book and was like, okay, I like this. I want to keep it as a religion for people, so I can continue, being known in the future, like a sort of a time sort of capsule. And then over
Yeah.
time, that was changed and turned into a belief of a certain deity. And over time, more people believed it as their ancestors, and it pulled on top of each other. So yeah, that doesn't really prove anything. Just because indigenous people were like, oh my god, there's a whole lot of, it doesn't prove anything.
Makushi Indians live in countries like Brazil, Guyana and Venezuela and say they are the descendants of the sun's children. The creator
What are they going on about? The sun doesn't have children. The sun can't give birth. It's an astronomical body that's made up of nuclear fission. Like it's oh my god. Okay, they're saying that the sun gave birth to people. Do they not
Mm.
realise? Do they not? Yeah, this is what they're saying. Obviously, yeah, I know indigenous people are stupid, right? Anyway, so they're saying that the sun had children. Obviously, they don't understand the concept of the sun because they're indigenous. You don't understand things as other people, but the sun itself. Humans are biological beings that evolved from bacteria-like cells or multicellular bacteria-like creatures that lived in the ocean. Now, does that sound like what the sun gave birth to? The sun itself can't give birth.
No.
It's simply it's a collection of gases into one body of mass, which is the sun, is in the center of the sun. I'm pretty sure the sun has a core as well, but you don't see the Earth giving birth, unless of course you think the Earth gives birth to rocks. But yeah, let's continue.
of fire and disease and the protectors of the inner earth. These legends speak of entrance into
Yeah, they're legends. They're legends. There's no proof
Yeah.
for it. They're legends. Just like any other religion or belief.
And any proof,
They're
any
legends
proof
that
that,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, go on. And maybe if I made a story up, right, and it got passed down generations, some people will start to believe it, and then over time it will be believed in. But it's still a legend, and it's still a story told by one person that had no specific evidence for it. But go on, Caden. What were you saying?
I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, yeah, that, like I said before, they need to repeat it for anyone to actually believe it.
Yeah, that's why it's called a legend, because it's been repeated over generations and
Yeah.
generations. Alright, let's go.
But the thing is, the people still believe it, even though
Yeah,
it's still a legend.
yeah, I know, exactly. But they believe it because their ancestors said so. But I don't believe that slavery is okay because my ancestors, completed slavery. And slavery wasn't even a myth, it was a real thing. So, when this is a myth and this is even more subtle than a reality, just because your ancestors did something or believe something doesn't mean that you should as well. Anything to say to that?
Well, that is true, because, you can believe this stuff, but until you have proof, you have no,
Reason to
proof
believe.
that it actually happened. Yeah.
Okay, let's continue.
Earth. The Makushis went into some sort of cavern and travelled from 13 to 15 days until they reached the interior. Inside the hollow earth, giants lived, creatures
What the hell? What are they going on about? They're saying that you can just go into the earth and not burn to death and not be fried, and it'll take 13 to 15 days, yeah, just constantly walking. I don't know where they're going to sleep, eat, or drink, but anyway. And apparently you get to some sort of inner earth where there's freaking giants and massive mushrooms and fairy creatures. But they have no proof of this. This just goes to show how stupid. I'm not saying they're stupid relatively, but they're stupid compared to us. They just kept to themselves, and they didn't decide to advance with the rest of society. So now they're just they're just a bunch of people who don't understand how the world works, and in turn create legends. So in the past, and this is the thing to do with religion as well, is that people in the past didn't understand how the universe was created and how things came to be. They also didn't understand space or stars. So this created a
A bit
dilemma,
like
which
with the flat Earth thing.
this created a dilemma in which, say, religious people had to come up with some sort of myth or legend that tried to explain why things happened. So a magical being that created everything. That was their only explanation because they didn't have any way to experiment to observe what they were seeing because of the unadvanced technologies. Just like these indigenous peoples, they don't have the advanced technologies or brain power, per se, as the rest of us in first world countries and societies. Anything to say?
Nope.
Okay, let's continue.
That are around 3 to 4 metres in height. Number 1. Today's believers. Still to this day, there are people that continue to believe in the possibility of a hollow Earth. Mysteriously, in 2002, the paranormal radio show Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell had a guest on named Dallas Thompson. This man claimed to have had a near-death experience where he stated to have come in contact with the knowledge of a hollow Earth. He explained that he was now planning to go on an expedition to the hole in the North Pole in 2003. However, soon after publishing his book Cosmic Manuscript, Thompson disappeared. Other believers in
Wait, what? Did you hear what you just said?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
What?
He just disappeared out of nowhere. Okay, I have to say that is a bit odd there, but that doesn't prove that the Earth is hollow. But it does say something suspicious happened there.
Exactly.
I
Anything
think
could have happened to. So like.
but there is two explanations that would be the main explanations here. That I'm not gonna, any factors I'm not gonna say. So there's three explanations. He either died, and people didn't realise, or he decided he was like, oh my god, people don't believe in hollow earth, so I'm just gonna disappear out of nowhere, or that maybe what he was saying would have revealed something to the public that maybe someone didn't want to know. So, but that's the least likely scenario. The third one, the most likely scenario is that he was like, he just didn't want any more people to talk about it.
Go. Go on. Go. Josiah. I mean Zane. Go on.
Okay, so
Zane. Get out.
we're gonna react to this video, yeah, Caden.
Hey guys, this is Mikey Chen. When you think
Okay, Caden, we're gonna react to this video, yeah, guys.
Yeah.
And Caden. And then once we finish this video, we're gonna react to this channel called oh god, your microphone. What are you doing with your microphone, man?
I had to move. So. Okay.
Okay, so I've got an idea what we can do. So we'll watch this video, yeah, and then we're going to react to a video made by some videos made by what am I talking about? Made by Security Team 10, which is it's a UFO channel, and we'll see what he puts on there, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we'll react to some videos based on what's happening with the weather recently and how odd it is, and then we're going to explain some things and talk about some things. Then we'll lead on to my personal experiences. Then our experiences together, Caden, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll watch some videos about some mind-blowing theories about the universe. So like this one here, by Origins Explained, and we'll watch some videos that talk about some weird theories to do with the universe. Okay, does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
of the center of the Earth, you probably picture the classic diagram from your high school science textbook showing a cross-section of the Earth's layers, like those of an onion. The crust, the upper mantle, the lower mantle, the outer core, and the inner core. But actually establishing and determining a factual geophysical model of planet Earth's interior has been a considerable challenge. Given our rapid technological advancements, one would think that determining the makeup of the Earth's core would be something simple, but it's not.
Well, it actually I don't think he understands the way that these things are found out, or at least maybe the scientists aren't using the methods that I entail here. But I'm pretty sure that scientists use certain not cameras, but certain detectors which like send waves down into the Earth's core to see the mass of the things inside the Earth. So based on how the waves are, affected, and then through this, they discover the mass of what is inside the Earth, and then from that they discern what materials are there. So I'm pretty sure that's how it works. And also using they also send down things that look at heat, and from what we know, the Earth continues to heat up as you go down further. So we also make the inference that it's the centre of the Earth, and also based on some other observations that it is a core made out of iron, and it is a certain heat, and it also influences the way the Earth, so like the plates and how they drift along, and also the stuff to do with volcanoes, and how with also to do with volcanoes and how the magma is released out of the Earth. So yeah, anything to say to that?
You don't need that, do you? You need it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Anything to say to that, Caden?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. What did you say?
All I said was that we already know how to like discern how the Earth works, and also that I also said that how would you get the effects of volcanoes? So how would magically you just get like some sort of like weird materials, which is magma, and how would that come out of volcanoes without there being something inside the Earth that's causing that? Anything to add on to that? Because if the Earth was hollow, then there'd be nothing that volcanoes would be spewing, because there'd be nothing to get it from. Unless it's saying like some
Exactly,
sort,
there would be no such thing as magma.
and there would be no such thing as the plates, because are they going to say like some sort of magic pool of magma somewhere that you just every volcano just like grabs a bunch and was like, okay, let's spew it out for no reason at all.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
The Earth's core is the most inaccessible part of our planet, and we have only penetrated about 8 miles out of the approximate 4,000 that it takes to reach the core. Now, this video topic has been suggested to me a lot, and to be honest, this was my first time really researching and looking into the theory that the Earth could be hollow. Of course, the hollow Earth theory isn't a new thing. Its existence has been proposed throughout human history. So in this video, I've collected some clues that could indicate that the hollow Earth theory may have some merit. And as always, I encourage everyone just to keep an open mind and judge for yourselves.
Wait, Thomas. Hold on.
Number 1.
Go on.
If the Earth is hollow, why couldn't they make it all the way through?
Exactly. Wait, that's exactly what I was going to say. A mainstream science would have technologies to go far enough. Do you know why they've only gone 8 miles deep? It's because it gets too hot, and we don't have we don't have resistance enough materials to protect ourselves against the immense heats. So if the Earth was hollow, it'd be relatively easy to go through it. Unless you're going to say some sort of magical civilization is just like protecting its lands in the inner Earth, and some sort of magical crap like that. They're not going to say that, are they? They're going to make up some weird theory that has no scientific backing, and then they're going to say, well, science isn't the way of finding out the truth. And they're going to say some other stuff. In my class recently, students have been saying that, oh, science is just chemicals and explosions. But yeah, exactly. That's what I said. I was like, what are you going on about? Science is the method of scientific method. It's just the scientific method. But the scientific method itself, which is the basis of science, is the discerning of the truth through observation and experimentation. Now that's also like debunking what the students in my class said, but it's also saying that if the Earth was hollow, in your case you would be able to observe it. However, if you're going to say that you're beyond science and that science doesn't entail everything, then science only entails what's true and what you can observe and what you can experiment with. So what is the point of coming up? What is the point of even having a theory and saying it's true if you can't experiment with it or observe it? Then there's no backing for it. That's what I'm really saying here. Anything to add to that?
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna say too, because like, they're saying all this stuff, but they don't have the proof, and they're always saying, the scientists are working on it. But if the scientists are working on it, then why are you saying other stuff that they haven't found out yet?
Yeah, so how can you say anything without any proof of being like? I could just say right now. Okay, so I guess that in the universe, in about 2 billion light years from here, there will be a massive explosion which is going to kill out everyone in 2 seconds from now. I have no proof for that, but apparently you can just, because this is something called deductive reasoning. Now, when you do deductive reasoning, it's the opposite of inductive reasoning. So when you do inductive reasoning, it's when you make a hypothesis of what you predict will happen, yeah, and then you experiment with
Yeah.
it. You experiment it, and then you observe the results, and then obviously see how it differs from the original prediction and why that happened and extra stuff like that. But deductive reasoning literally just makes the theory first, and then like it makes a theory first, yeah, and then
Mhm.
it doesn't even have any backing for it. So like it will experiment with something, and then it will make a hypothesis, yeah, after the experiment. So instead of having a hypothesis and then looking over your hypothesis based on the evidence made from the experiment, they like make some like random, unnecessarily experiment that doesn't even work. Like most of the time, it's based on what they already think. So it's also backwards. They think they know what's real, so they experiment only with the bias of knowing what's real, thinking of what's real. And then when it doesn't entail what they believe in, they say that whatever they're experimenting with wasn't an accurate experimenting factor. So, for example, people who believe in flat Earth, in obviously straight away are like flat. The Earth is flat. Yeah. Now, they will have this bias as they go into an experiment, and if they use the experiment and gravity disproves what they're saying, they will say that the gravity isn't a good factor to use and isn't real, but that's what they discern from it. Now this is really what they're doing with the hollow Earth here, and they're just claiming it's real without having the original evidence for it. Do you have anything extra to say about that?
Well, that's exactly what I was doing, honestly. Also, I sent you the thumbnail.
Oh, did you? Nice. Sick. How am I going to use it then? Exactly. My stream.
Just save. Try and save it.
Okay. Sorry guys, it's just a bit of a thing here. But it's a stream, so we know we don't have to. Still there?
Oh, the call's about to,
Okay. Save
the
file.
call was about to disconnect.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why. Okay, I've downloaded it now. Okay, so what do I just for the stream?
We're going to YouTube and go into your stream.
Okay,
Then
so
click edit
where,
on your live stream. If it pops up. Yeah, it says change thumbnail.
where? Oh, I got it.
Down there.
Mom put so many photos on here. It's so annoying. Oh, got it. Okay, is it done? Does it show up?
Hold on, let me check. What does it show? I'm gonna leave the stream for a second and to come back.
Okay.
Well, let me check. It has,
Yay!
and there's 3 people watching.
Woohoo. Okay, let's continue with the video then.
Alright, let's go in then.
A vast ocean inside the Earth. In 2014, University of Alberta professor Graham Pearson led an international team of scientists in analyzing a cheap diamond that yielded some priceless insights. His team paid about $20 for a diamond found by artisan miners in the Juína area of Mato Grosso, Brazil in 2008. Inside the brownish diamond, they accidentally found a mineral called ringwoodite while looking for a different mineral. Ringwoodite had been found in meteorites before, but this was the first time it was found in the Earth. The reason finding ringwoodite...
Wait, I'm gonna quickly say something about this. This kind of proves panspermia here, because if it is the same material that is found in meat... Oh my god, who's speaking in the background? Who is that in the background? Whoever it is so annoying.
I'm locking the door now.
And actually, shut the hell up. Anyway, guys, the kids not gonna hear this, but basically, ringwoodite. Okay, so he said that ringwoodite is found in meteorites, but he also found it in the Earth. Yeah. This also proves the idea of panspermia, as to where meteorites hit the Earth, bringing life and also gearing up the the innards of the Earth and its mechanisms. So, because of if it was in the Earth and if it was found, that also says that water was brought up from the surface, and that this created the mechanisms to how the Earth works today. So yeah, that kind of proves panspermia. But he's about to say why he thinks it proves the Earth is hollow.
Was so significant was because water was trapped inside it, and a significant amount, about one...
Yeah, panspermia here. If meteorites brought life and water, then possibly this is biogenesis, so this is the idea where biological life actually came from on the planet. What the hell is that?
I don't even know.
Anyway, so if there was water in ringwoodite that was found in the Earth, that also proves panspermia in the way that if the meteorites contained water, they would have brought water to the surface, and this is why we have water today.
But usually when a
0.5% of
meteorite
its
impacts
weight, and it was
another,
formed about
rock,
Yeah.
doesn't it usually cause some kind of explosion? So how would the water even stay there?
The water.
Yeah.
It depends how early the stages of development are, but usually in the early stages of development for the Earth, the meteorite would have struck the early development, and it would have also so it would have gone into the Earth, yeah, and the explosions would have discerned all the water, and with Earth's gravity, some of that water and some of the ringwoodites that contain the water would have been pulled in by the gravity of the Earth and stayed in the Earth itself. So that's the idea here. So so some of the ringwoodite would have been pushed out, but the ones that would have been stayed in through to the gravitational pull would have stayed as water. And also that explosion would have caused the water in the ringwoodite to come up to the surface. That's the idea. Anything to say about that?
No.
Okay, let's continue.
I don't.
250 to 350 miles below the planet's surface in the so-called transition zone between the upper and lower mantle. The diamond had been brought to the Earth's surface by a volcanic rock.
Wait, how does this prove hollow Earth? If there's stuff in the Earth, that proves that the Earth has stuff in it. They're just contradicting themselves here. Because even if there is water...
Hold on, it's coming a bit late to me.
Oh, sorry. Well, it's just the main idea of it. Because what they're saying here is that ringwoodite was found in the Earth. If the Earth was hollow, there would be nothing in the Earth. That's pretty much what they're saying here. So if there is nothing in the Earth, then where would you find the ringwoodite? And finding ringwoodite that contains water, it only further proves panspermia. It doesn't prove that the Earth is hollow. So they're contradicting themselves, but they're also proving something that they don't seem to have thought of before. Okay, let's continue.
known as kimberlite, the most deeply derived of all volcanic rocks, and according to Dr. Pearson, this sample really provides extremely strong confirmation that there are local wet spots deep in the earth in this area.
But that doesn't prove that look, it says deep in the earth. If there is wet spots, then that means that the earth isn't hollow. Do you see what I'm coming from here, Ken?
Yeah.
They're saying deep in the earth. There would be no deep in the earth if it was hollow. You're not really clues that the earth is hollow, it's clues that meteorites hit the earth in the past and caused the water to rise to the surface, and therefore, biogenesis, blah blah blah. Anything to say extra?
No, I'm still confused on why they still think it. It's just getting on my nerves, really.
Let's continue.
That particular zone in the Earth, the transition zone, might have as much water as all the world's oceans put together. Now, you may
Okay, so that's still in the earth.
think that people who believed in the hollow Earth theory were all French scientists, but that's not the case, which brings us to number 2.
They're not all fringe scientists, they're all lunatics. Most of them are lunatics. They're either lunatics or misled by lies, most of the time. But did you just get a message or something? Oh,
Yep.
who is it from?
Someone. I'm not gonna say it.
Oh, you're not gonna say it in stream. Alright. You still there? Oh shit, the internet's crap. Hayden, what the hell just happened to your call?
I don't know. It keeps doing some weird stuff. It keeps going beep boop, boom, beep. You know, it keeps trying to disconnect.
Okay, let's go back to the video.
On our list, Edmond Halley. If this name sounds familiar to you, well, it should. Edmond Halley was an English scientist who is best known for predicting the orbit of the comet that was later named after him. Halley noticed that the Earth's magnetic field is rather unpredictable, with its lines shifting from year to year, and Halley believes that the Earth's hollowness is to blame. According to Halley, we're standing on the outermost
Oh my god, what? What? Okay, so just because the sun and the earth, yeah, there is some sort of sporadic patterns to their orbits. How does that mean that the earth is hollow? It just means that the earth and the sun's magnetic fields and their gravitational center of mass is not stable. But most things in space aren't stable. Like, for example,
Space isn't stable. It's
yeah,
very unpredictable.
yeah, exactly like the idea in quantum
Anything
physics.
natural is unpredictable, just like with humans.
In quantum physics,
Like you could
yeah,
could be alive one morning. The doctor tells you you're gonna die in 3 weeks, and then you die the next morning.
yeah. In quantum physics, things known as probability waves now. This is a lot of it theoretical. Well, a lot of it has actually been proved, and it just proves that the entire universe it can't be predicted, but some bits can. It depends the concentration of waves. Now, this in the context of what he's saying here is that just because some orbit is unstable, that doesn't mean that the Earth is hollow. It just means that the center of mass between the sun and the Earth is also unstable, and also, Mercury's orbit is elongated, and its orbit is also unstable. So you're also going to claim that all the planets are hollow. The only planets that are technically hollow are the gas giants. Now that's because most of them is just a massive cloud, except for the fact that there's like a tiny core in the middle, but most of it is hollow. So that's the only planetary bodies that you can claim that is hollow are the gas giants, but technically they aren't.
shell with 3 more concentric shells within, and is the
Yeah, but where is the proof? Just because a random scientist from like 400 years ago says that there was like 4 layers to the Earth doesn't mean there was.
Exactly. I bet you like 400 years ago they couldn't even talk proper English.
Well, they're different language back then anyway. remember back in the past they also believed in flat Earth, and we know how bad of a
Yep.
theory.
They still
That
believe
is.
in that now.
And back in the past also they believed in something called alchemy, that you could change like other materials into gold. Now, maybe in the future we can, because possibly in the future we might be able to change the chemical composition of certain materials. But back in the past, by using magical powders, you can't turn silver into gold, for example, unless you're going to gold plate it and make fake gold. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
let's continue.
Of these inner shells that throw off our magnetic field. He suggested that each
Okay, so apparently Earth has a weird orbit because of its magnetic field. Now, firstly, the orbit has nothing to do with the magnetic field. However, if you're going to claim it does, just because the Earth's magnetic field is sporadic doesn't mean it's caused by a hollow Earth. Usually, Earth's magnetic field is usually sporadic because the idea of electromagnetic energy isn't completely stable. Which, like Hayden says, everything in nature it tends to be unstable. So, what were the examples you gave, Hayden?
So like what I was saying is like if you were sick or something and the doctor told you only had 3 weeks to live, and then you die the next morning, like nature is unstable, like anything can happen because it's natural.
Exactly. So
It's not like it's all been calculated.
yeah, and most of anything is like it's bad for humans a lot of it, but it's bad for most organisms anyway. So everything is kind of like one big, you know, and that's what's so good about it because that kind of disproves the idea of a computer simulation. Is that if everything is a probability wave, then nothing can be computer simulated because to some degree the computer simulation will be predictable, wouldn't it? Like
Yeah.
any computation, even if it was like on a higher level of computation that we don't have the capacity to understand, we would still be able to discern whether there was some sort of level of predictability, but there isn't. Unless it comes to some stuff that has predictability, which isn't materialistic nature. So, for example, sci-fi writers might be able to predict what technological advancements might come in the future based on current advancements and how fast it might advance future. But just because, but that's not materialistic, nature. That's just, what humans do, and what humans create is man-made.
Yeah.
That's not nature. So, nature is the one that's probabilistic here.
That's why it's called man-made.
Unless you're going to say that the Earth is also made by aliens. There's another weird conspiracy theory. Anyway.
What? How?
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
sphere was capable of supporting life because each sphere was bathed with light from the atmosphere that filled each of the inner spaces.
What? Okay, so apparently now the atmosphere can now light up the surface. Okay, so explain to me
So they don't believe in
how.
the sun now.
Okay, so apparently the atmosphere can produce UV rays and can produce food for plants that use photosynthesis. Now, exactly what? Since when does the atmosphere create what the sun does? Because then this is what you're saying is that if we didn't have a sun, then plants wouldn't die, and plants would just continue photosynthesis. Even though there is no light there is light being refracted from the atmosphere, but that is generated by the sun, most of that light. Unless of course it's urban city light, and that's created by humans, but still that's not the atmosphere. So it's a bit crazy. And what he's saying here is that you can just go into the earth and you'll find like an extra earth inside the earth. And, what the hell? It's just a bit crazy.
Number 3, Leonhard Euler.
Everything's
Leonhard
crazy.
Euler
People are crazy now.
I'm gonna skip this video because it's just getting repetitive, isn't it? We're gonna go on to our next channel.
We went to the geographic part.
Huh?
The geographical part.
Yeah, we're gonna after I've done this, we'll watch the. Okay, we're gonna watch this video made by him, the most recent one, and then we're gonna watch some videos about the weird stuff that's going on with the weather, yeah, and then I'll lead on to my personal experiences. So, okay, let's do this one. Okay, let's read this. Half of the Earth is water. Our body is
Right.
Our body is 3/4 water. Water represents the interface between the fourth dimension in which we live and the fifth dimensional sphere of our soul. What the hell?
I actually almost wanna laugh.
What proof is there for that? What the hell? That just sounds like some sort of crazy book you have for a witch. Like, okay, next one. Many studies have shown subtle effects of healers upon hydrogen bonding and infrared absorption of water. None of these scientific studies can compare with the beauty and clear messages shown by Dr. Emoto's elegant work.
Doctor Who?
What? Emoto. Okay, so apparently, the fifth dimension is the sphere of our soul. What the hell? Okay, let's continue watching.
I'm so tired.
Yeah, you're sad.
Hey, what's up, guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. So today I want to take us a little bit off the beaten path, but discuss a topic that is still very much within the realm of the mystery of our
Thomas.
universe.
Yeah, go on.
I'll be back in a sec. I'm just gotta come off the call a sec. And then
Okay.
I'll call you back.
What? Can I just continue watching the video though?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Right.
Of our planet, and of really us, and everything around us, and science, and what we know about it, and possibly...
Oh my god, everything that's around us and science! I just had to say that. That was really weird.
what has been kept from us.
Oh my god, they always say this, all these conspiracy theorists. It's being kept us. The government doesn't want us to know their secrets. Oh my god, they are keeping this information from us. Prove they are.
And so today, I wanted to...
Oh, and also the title here, Your Thoughts Can Alter Physical Reality. That can be explained by quantum physics, so that isn't something that the government is hiding. You just haven't looked into quantum physics. The main idea is that if there is an infinite amount of parallel universes, your brain or your actions will be able to alter which parallel universe you enter in. So, if you decide that you're like, oh my god, this is going to happen, you know, more like so for you, if you really want a cheeseburger, for example, I'm not saying this is the case, but if your brain is able to discern its own path in parallel universes, and you really want that cheeseburger, then if your theory is correct, you'll be in a parallel universe where you do get that cheeseburger, and you just like magically get a cheeseburger. But most time, it's when you already have, the possibility that you will get it. So there is no possibility that you can think outside the box in terms of parallel universes. So yeah, let's continue.
talk about an extremely fascinating set of experiments that were put forth over the years by the man Dr. Masaru Emoto, and the groundbreaking discoveries that he uncovered relating to the one substance that gives us life on planet Earth, and that we ourselves are made of. That, of course, is water, and the discovery that our consciousness and our very thoughts can affect it and cause very real changes in its molecular structure. In other words, the
What? Okay, I want to see proof of this.
proof that we can alter the physical world with our thoughts. So just a quick background here. Dr. Emoto was a Japanese researcher and a pioneer whose astonishing discoveries about water were documented photographically and changed most of what we didn't know and led to a new consciousness regarding Earth's most precious resource. What put him at the forefront of the study was that of water and his proof that thoughts and feelings affect physical reality, and that by producing different focused intentions through written and spoken words and music, these different samples of water would appear to change their expressions. Now, many of you may have heard of something called the rice experiment, and it links back to Mr. Emoto's discovery, in that water can absorb and store the influences of thoughts and feelings, which were proven in an experiment which, by the way, has been duplicated countless times here on YouTube, and it all surrounded 3 jars that were placed on a table, each containing an equal amount of dried rice. Each glass would then be filled up with an equal amount of water from the same source, whereby he would then once a day walk up to each glass. To one glass of rice, he would say, "I love you." He would then walk over to the next glass and say the word "idiot." And finally, he would completely ignore the third glass. And after some days of doing this, it was revealed that the rice with which he said he loved had begun fermenting with a beautiful white color to the rice and a rich aroma. In the glass of rice that he ignored, it had turned completely black. And finally, the last glass, with which he hurled negative insults, the rice began to rot, proving
That's very weird, but there could be some other factors that could be influencing it.
that water, by some unknown means, had actually understood what he was saying and changed its molecular structure based on that. And as I said earlier, this experiment has been documented in countless YouTube videos with people wanting to try it at home, and it's always the same result. Now, Mr. Emoto also did experiments with ice crystals, where he developed a technique using a very powerful microscope in a very cold room, along with high-speed photography, where he would photograph newly formed crystals of frozen water samples. However, not all of the samples crystallized, and that samples from extremely polluted rivers would seem to express their state that the water was in. He would also take water and expose it to either loving words or negative words and thoughts, with simply breathtaking results. So today I will leave you guys with a short clip, about a 5-minute clip of narration of some of these images that were captured by Mr. Emoto that truly do display what appears to be solid proof that water, again, something that makes up 70% of our bodies and half of our planet, it is the one substance in the entire universe that is needed for sustaining life, and that maybe there is something much more to it, which also brings thoughts as to what of these negative or loving thoughts are doing to our own bodies, and that maybe this will change your outlook and just how you go about your days and the types of thoughts you choose to surround and live your lives with. So enjoy this clip, let me know what you guys think down below, and feel free to test this experiment on your own. So thank you all for stopping by, and I'll see you all back in just a bit.
Water is the very source of all life.
Okay, I'm just gonna skip all this because, yeah, it does seem a bit weird, but that doesn't necessarily prove what you're saying, because there could be many other factors to do with, there could be some, something behind the videos, so possibly they're hiding something from us, and they're doing some sort of, extra thing that's disproving, or it's making the rice rot, but yeah, that's pretty cool. But I'm also going to quickly look at these videos. Oh my guys, I'm just gonna call Kin back. So we're gonna watch Weird Stuff to Do with the Weather, and then we're gonna go into personal experiences to do with me. So yeah, I'm just calling Kin here. Now you won't be able to see because the window is different. Hello, you back now? Hello? Caden, you there? Caden?
Hello, I can't.
Hello? Oh god. Oh god, guys. Oh shit. Ah. Oh shit, that scared me. This is cool. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello? I can hear you, by the way.
Hello! I
Alright.
can hear you.
Yeah, we're gonna watch something strange is happening to the weather. Caden. And then we're gonna go into my personal experiences, yeah. And then we're gonna go into stuff that has happened to both of us. And then we're gonna look at Mandela effect and stuff like that recently. And then we're gonna look at some stuff from Shane Dawson, like the Hell and Heaven theories. Okay?
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
History.
Hundreds of residents are being forced to evacuate their homes.
California's governor has declared a state of emergency with several other large wildfires burning on the state's west coast.
The western U.S. is being hit by another type of natural disaster.
The sheer numbers are staggering. 100 fires in total, around 80 of them considered large.
In 9 western states. Did you get that? 75 fires in 9.
Can you also talk about, I mean, last week saw virtually unprecedented floods across South Asia.
Yo, props to Jason A here. He makes very cool videos. You should check his channel out.
The Eagle Creek fire has charred some 30,000 acres in the heart of Oregon's scenic Columbia River Gorge.
Jennifer, it's hard to wrap your head around this. Again, really hard to find the words to describe.
Whoa, look at that sun. What? Yo, that sun looks epic.
This. We're talking about this luscious, pristine green gorge now turning orange and red, billowing black smoke.
Oh, well.
It's like nothing I've ever, really ever seen.
I knew there was fires going on, but I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it is right now. I didn't realize the whole town was going to be shut down, which is kind of spooky.
That glowing smoke just rolling and billowing into the sky.
I haven't seen one this big. I've seen a lot of them, but I've not seen one this big.
Here on this side, it is literally
and it
Jeez, that's massive. Kane, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. That's fucking huge.
I know these fires, man. They're crazy. Oh my, that was the worst joke.
I'm just trying to put some humor into this.
really is even just hard to find.
Go on.
Like,
What are you saying? What are you saying? Because I'll put the video in the subtitle. What do you want to say?
nothing, I'm just looking.
Find the words to describe this. A true hell on earth, almost apocalyptic looking, the glow from those flames.
Altogether, the state's wildfires have scorched more than 1,000 square miles. That's about 1/3 of all the land burning across the United States.
What? Wait, did they just say that the third of all the land in the USA is literally burning? What the hell? Okay, that's weird, but we're going.
Whether it's the floods down in Houston, or Hurricane Irma that's threatening Florida, wildfires across the West, or extreme drought on the plains, we cannot deny that our climate is changing.
We're still struggling to fully comprehend its aftermath. After one of the heaviest downpours in US history, the storm is generating an amount of rain that would normally be seen only once in more than 1,000 years.
Mother Nature is angry. We've never seen the kind of damage, the biblical flooding.
But the number of natural disasters.
What's this got to do with the Bible? Oh my god. Caden.
Yeah?
It was just like, oh my god, Mother Nature hates us. The biblical flooding! Oh, come on.
I didn't even listen to that part, because, like, as soon as you mentioned the Bible, I was like, nope, bye.
Has nearly quadrupled since 1970.
Harvey hit Texas with Old Testament wrath. A deluge along the...
Oh my god, what's it got to do with the Old Testament? What's the weather got to do with the Old Testament? Yeah, okay, God was evil and he flooded everyone. Has nothing to do with some bad weather events that happened in the USA. I'm gonna quickly, because this video is gonna be very repetitive. I'm gonna just quickly like divert to Okay, what the hell are you doing?
I don't know.
What are you doing? The sound is really annoying.
Oh no!
Wait, how long have we been streaming for? Ooh, 1 hour. We've only been streaming for an hour. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly divert to my theories. All right.
Yeah.
So, okay. No,
After this series, I'm going to the toilet quick and then I'll be back.
No, I mean my experiences. I mean.
Okay.
I have a lot though. So. How long are you willing to wait?
Long, I don't even need it that bad.
Okay. So first, I'm gonna say some stuff to do with the weather. So scientists have found. What the hell?
I don't know. Just go in.
Scientists have found like an increased amount of electromagnetic interference in the atmosphere. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what they think is causing this high amount of weather. Now, before all this frenzy happened with the weather, I think Caden knows about this, but I don't know what it is anyway. So I have this weird thing where I will get this feeling in my hand of electric, yeah, and me and Caden have like looked this over and like you know, had a go at testing it out and stuff, and like there's been like some weird things that have happened anyway. But this has nothing to do with Caden. So one day I decided that because like whenever I had the feeling, it was always a really weak feeling, that I would try to do it for a longest period amount of time to like try and, for say, collect energy. But not really, but like try and make the feeling as intense as possible. And so then I imagined that it was
sometimes or sometimes didn't work.
Yeah, but anyway, but the one time that Caden wasn't there, I managed to try and detach my energy and like release it for say, and pretty much the next day, and I'm not lying here, like I don't like you can say whatever you want about it, but I'm not saying it proves anything. This is probably a coincidence or not, but anyway, I'm just gonna say what happened. So one day after I did it, yeah, there was a storm coming to the UK, It was literally an ex-hurricane, and we don't usually see those, and it's really odd. And me and my friend actually looked at this weather site called windy.com, and there was a massive wall of wind bellowing into the UK. And we also looked at the electromagnetic sensors, and pretty much along that wall of wind, there was, from where I live, there was an electromagnetic sort of like link, for say, and there was a kind of like a radiation that spread out from the point of where I live to where the wall of wind was. So that was really odd. And whenever I've done it, there's always been some sort of storm that's happened. And then as I continuously did it, worse storms have come and hit the UK. And then all of a sudden, now out of the blue, 4 hurricanes hit the USA.
I know, that was mad.
Exactly. This is the thing. I'm not saying this is me, but like soon as I did it. I even did it with my friend once. He has the same feelings in his hand, and we did it together. And then literally, we looked up on the internet, and all of a sudden, Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Irma, Hurricane, Jose, and we were like, what the hell? And there's also a report where a massive hurricane had formed out of literally nothing.
I remember that.
Yeah. So that's also a weird thing that's to do with me, which is like, what the hell? How do these things happen? And so, also, there was an increased amount of instances of like electric charge and stuff, which is also weird. But yeah, that's to do with the storm thing. Now I don't know if this has anything to do with me, but yeah. And also, when the storm, well, let me see if I can actually bring up windy.com here. I don't know if you've ever seen this, Caden.
What?
It's pretty much just a website that shows the weather. Right.
Yeah, you saw me?
Oh yeah, so I'm just going to show this to everyone. So we've seen recently, I mean, look at this. I mean, like, Jesus, what see what I mean? Like, what the hell is that? Like, look at the size of that one. And you don't usually see hurricanes this massive on a massive scale in the Atlantic. And I've even tried it today, and so this wasn't here. This massive hurricane here, it wasn't here earlier. Now I'll zoom out here, just to, just to give you a bigger picture. Look at the size of this thing. Now I'm gonna press play. I'm gonna see where it heads. Where is it going exactly? It's like staying in the center.
Back in a sec.
Yeah, okay.
You kind of talking to the audience.
Yeah. There's also this kind of massive breach of wind here with a little eye, or kind of like a discerned eye here that's coming across, and it's also coming over the UK here. This hurricane here is kind of just discerned off, and we can see that. Now we're going to quickly look at the other side of America, quickly. And so you'll see what I mean, as in there is an increased amount of completely unprecedented massive hurricanes in the wake of me doing these sort of practices. Now, I'm not saying this has a basis in science or anything. I'm just saying what has happened and what has happened in the basis of what has happened with me. So this was incredibly odd for me to find out and discern. Now, another thing regarding the electric feelings I have in my hands, in school we do metal work. Now, we work usually with metal rods and discs, and we were creating a lamp. Oh my god, the sounds in the background. Anyway, so with these metal rods, usually when you I just hover my hands over the edges of the metal rods, and usually nothing would happen. It would stay the same temperature and everything. Now, as soon as I felt that feeling and decided to try and discern that energy into the rod, it increased the temperature by a lot. Like, it was really, really hot, and my peer was like really confused because it was like incredibly hot. And also, he touched it and he got like this massive static shock, and he was like, "Whoa, what the hell?" So yeah, that's another thing that's been happening. So I don't know if there's a scientific explanation for that. I don't think there is. That's quite. It's not really psychic, but it is something to do with that. Now I'm going to lead on to something to also involve psychic stuff. Now, when I have dreams, the average dream, even if it's lucid, has some basis when it comes to the average messages of the dream. So it will show your emotions. Now, in my dreams, there is nothing to discern of that. Now, this is what makes my dreams different. My dreams are usually very photographic, so everything's lucid and everything my brain remembers, and it's really weird. But pretty much everything is discerned and everything, seems, but still seems that slightest bit off. Which is how in a lucid dream, I can discern between reality and between a dream. Usually, it's because it feels off. It feels there's something that's slightly off that doesn't make sense to reality. Now, I have these stages of sleep where
Carry on with this stream.
yeah, so I've just explained like the storm thing with everybody.
Alright, dude, I'm back.
And then I've just explained the storm thing to everybody, and now I've just been leading on to my dreams. Now, I have to say this: I have entire stages of my dream where something will happen. I'll remember it for like literally the first 10 seconds of when I wake up, and all of a
What,
sudden,
your dream?
not my entire dream. Like I'm gonna explain what I mean. So this entire block of my dream that just gets completely cut out after the first 10 seconds. Now the weird thing is, I remember the rest of my dream, the entirety of it, for about the next 10 minutes. The entirety of my dream, where I'm lucid dreaming, I understand it's a dream and everything like that. But these entire blocks of dreams, in the time that I remember what happened, it seems to be exactly like reality's events. Now, in the daytime, I have panic attacks a lot of the time. Do you know what I mean, Caden? Have you ever seen me
Yeah.
when I've had one before? Well, pretty much, all of a sudden, what will happen is that I look at the surroundings, and all of a sudden, I'll have a vision of what happened in my dream, and instantly I know that happened in my dream. Then I'll have a sort of event of intense deja vu, where it will make me have a panic attack, where the dream is like fissuring among my vision. So I'm like half asleep, half awake, where it's showing me what happened in my dream. So this either means that my dream tells me what's going to happen the next day, or I literally dream the next day, but I don't remember any of it, which is really weird to think about. Like, imagine that, Caden. Like,
I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm pretty sure I had something like that.
That I dream literally the entire past day, like the entire next day that's going to happen. I dream it all. That's weird to think about. But anyway, the next one is something that sounds more reasonable, but it's also weird. So the first one is to do with height. So I have weird things to do with height. I don't know if you remember this, Caden, but only when I was about 9 years old, I was only about 4'1". Okay.
You were really short then. Yeah, I remember.
Yes. Now I don't know what it is, and it's been increasing at a rapid rate. But over the past few years, after that stage, all of a sudden I've grown. Now I've grown from 4 foot to 5'6".
You're 5'6". I thought you were 5'4".
No, I've grown again.
Jeez,
I do say it's been increasing the rate of my height, and it's really weird. Anyway.
Well, guess what?
Huh?
I turned 5'9".
Sick.
I'm the same height as my mom now.
Nice.
Yes.
So I guess me and Caden have got rapid growth rates. Isn't that kind of weird that we share like the same trait of fast growth rate? Anyway, so yeah, that's odd. That's odd for me because you, Caden, were about 4'10" already. So
I was really short.
You were really short, but you were still like taller than me.
Yeah, I was always like one of the tallest.
But I only became one of the tallest in, I think it was year 5. Anyway, but that's weird to the fact that I want to tell you something. Now, kid you not, about 7 months ago, like literally last year, I was 5 foot. Bang on 5 foot last year.
Mad.
And I've grown half a foot. Now this is weird for me because it's like, why do I have such a rapid growth rate to the point where, you know, even recently I was 5'4", probably like a month ago, and now I've grown 2 inches. Like it's very odd. Anyway, another thing is I don't know what it was, but it's been increasing at a rapid rate. Is that Caden might not actually remember this. I don't know if you do, but when I was 9 and younger, I was not intelligent at all.
You're retarded. I'm not gonna lie.
I was not intelligent at all. So I have 2 explanations for that. The first one is that I don't know what actually. I don't know what this feeling is, but I've had this feeling from when. So I've had this weird feeling where since I've been 10 or near 10 years old, all of a sudden, you know, I'm not saying this is the case, but I feel like there was somebody else that was that kid before. So somebody else was that.
Thomas, you just hit 100 total views.
Huh?
You literally just now just hit 100 total views.
Damn. How many people are watching this stream?
I don't even know, but I think loads of people are viewing your other videos.
Nice. Anyway, so this is just a feeling of mine. This is nothing scientific. But I don't know if you have the same feeling, but I feel like I've come into this body since I was about 9 or 10 years old, and so like some sort of consciousness has changed over, and now the only memories I have of me before I was 10 years old are like little snippets. Like imagine I was like working for an agency, yeah, that pretty much was like, okay, you need to go and discover what life is like for this person, right? And you swap consciousnesses, and then you're given like a video tutorial, but like a mind tutorial, for example, and you get a few memories of the past, and you try to understand so what's happened. Now, do you think that's a bit odd, Caden? Because I barely have any memories before I was 10 years old. None at all.
I know you told me about it, like how
Yeah.
was it kickboxing you went to, and you don't remember it.
I don't remember any of it. I don't remember. All I remember is, okay, imagine this. I only remember imagine Assassin's Creed where they have the person look over the like they have like it connected to the brain of the other person. I feel like it's like that, but with consciousness. So a person has given me some kind of like a few videos of the past, and it's put them in my brain, the memories, a few of the memories, right, of the past, and then and that was also said why the only memories I have are like imagine you looking for a phone, yeah, and you've recorded a few videos. That's all the memories feel like. That's all the memories. They feel like literally little videos that have, you know, you've recorded, and that's just all I get. Like I barely have any. I only have memories of significant events. I only have memories of the main significant events that in my life. I wouldn't even my life. I don't even know anymore because I literally have no memories at all since before I was 10 years old. And so I've also this is also another kind of proof for it. I never remember being like, because right now I'm just technically an average weight. I'm not skinny, you know, I'm not fat, but I'm not, you know, any fit at all, right? I don't ever remember being skinny, ever. But before I was 10 years old, I was skinny, and all of a sudden I became just an average weight. You think that's also weird?
Yeah, you gained on viewers. You could easily gain on weight.
Yeah, but nowadays I can't gain or lose weight. I'm like it's really weird. Anyway, another thing to do with that is that can you give any examples of my like dumbassery before I was 10 years old? Hello?
Yeah.
Can you give any examples of like what I was like before I was 10 years old?
Hold on. Say again.
Can you give any examples of what I was like before I was 10 years old?
Before you were 10 years old.
Because I literally can't remember.
You weren't very talkative.
Yeah.
Thinking about it, you weren't. I was like, me and Ethan were like one of the only people you really spoke to.
Yeah.
And you just kind of isolate yourself from everyone else. Yeah.
That's also weird, but I'll have to say this. Isn't it weird that the only memories I have are like little video clip that I can bring up in my mind of the main events? So like the main events in my life are the birthdays, but I can't remember any birthday of mine before I was 9 years old. I can't remember any birthday before I was 9 years old. And also, I don't know if you've realised this, but Caden, when I was 9 years old, I had this really squeaky voice, and then all of a sudden, when I turned 10, I had like this sort of like deeper voice that was also not squeaky, but it wasn't too deep. But it hasn't changed from then. It hasn't changed since I was 10 years old. But it changed quite differently from when I was 9 years old. But can you give any examples of like how I was different from now, from when I was like before I was like 9 years old?
I kind of already said like you would isolate yourself.
What else?
You never really spoke that much.
What else?
You're weird.
In what way?
Like crazy weird, as in like people kind of wouldn't believe some things you would say.
Like what?
I don't know. I can't really remember.
What are the things that I would say?
I don't know. It's like
it's very important.
I know you would. I can't remember.
It's very important because the reason it's important to me is because I'm trying to find out what it was like before I was 9 years old, because I don't think this is normal that somebody can't even remember most of their life. Like, don't you think that's odd? Like, I can literally pick out parts of year 6 that happened because I remember the entire year 6. Like, did you realise any differences between me when I was in year 5 and year 6?
No, not really.
In what way? Like, I'm still trying to find out myself because I'm still confused.
I don't know. You kind of just matured when you hit year 6. You didn't really change that much.
But like the mature thing.
Yeah.
Because the memories that I have, the first time I ever really feel like this is very confusing all for me because I don't know if anyone else has had this experience where they forget pretty much their entire life. So let's take this for an example. I was a squeaky idiot with that weird stuff and isolated myself, and all of a sudden I turned 10 and I'm like this now, where completely different. So, and these are also some. Maybe this is really a theory, but what if my brain had the capacity to hold a consciousness that leveled out a higher intelligence? So maybe, I'm not saying this is the case, but if there was somebody before when I was 10 that was different to me, would have been a different consciousness that had a different intelligence, but didn't really encompass for the entire, brain. That's one of my theories.
Yeah.
So, somebody, because that's why I don't know why, but I have these weird dreams where it shows me something like it literally shows me before I was here as this, and it pretty much just shows me in space with some of the shenanigans, and it showed me the apparent process pretty much where it would show me that they were like, okay, we need to send this upon some people, so, and they pretty much just showed me some videos of the main events, and they implanted that into the new consciousness, and then they were like, okay, so you're gonna come in as this and try and experience that life. Or these are weird theories, but it's all I'm gonna say. Or there is something extra going on here, where if you imagine, if there was a god, yeah. What if they wanted to experience what it was like to be a human, but they didn't want to experience it until the person was able to hold a certain consciousness? That's also a weird experience. Okay, so another thing I have to say. Now this is to do with what things that I can do. Now I'm not gonna get anyone to validate it. I'm not trying to show off or anything, but I'm just gonna say the things that I've done before. Now, I all of a sudden I don't know. It's increased at a rapid rate, but pretty much I have this for some reason increased memory capability where I have pretty much this is things that I've done right. I don't know if you know this, Cajun, but pretty much in the space of a week I was able to memorise 156 digits of pi. Even a memory champion could only memorise 100, and he was like 3.14, and he said it really slow. I remembered 156 digits of pi. When I remember them, I even write them into my book as I repeat them into my book. So that's the first crazy thing. Secondly, I don't know all the equations or all the mathematical ideas behind maths, but I actually know, literally, after 30 minutes of research, I was able to memorise the entire mathematical language and all the symbols and everything, which is also weird. And I was also literally every number that can ever exist. So I can look at any massive number and discern what it's called. And I learnt that in 10 minutes. I learnt all that in 10 minutes. All the numbers, names and everything.
Jeez.
Also, it's I seem to have this instinct where all of a sudden everything is coming back to me. So imagine it like this. A new consciousness sprung into this body, and all of a sudden, over time, it would uncover what was the reality of things, and through that, the intelligence and the original knowledge would return. So I seem to know, and I've even written these things in my book, stuff to do with space, and also, I have to say this quickly. Do you know the thing that they found out to do with gravitational waves from neutron stars?
Yeah.
I made a theory about that a few months before to do with gravitational waves in order to create wormholes. I literally made a theory about gravitational waves before they were even discovered or known to exist, before they were even theorized to exist. So how does that work?
Wizard.
Huh?
You're a wizard.
You're a wizard, Harry. Okay, so I'm also gonna go quickly over something.
You're way too late. You're going to bed anyway. You're gonna wake your brother and sister up. Huh? It's too loud. We're going to bed. So bloody noisy.
Do you want to be quieter?
No, you're gonna have to come up with it anyway. No. Going to bed anyway.
Sad. Anyway, I was going to say this. We're going to quickly look at some of the recent Mandela effects. So, on the stream. Hey. Filter. Are you on the stream, Ken?
Yeah, money.
So, like that before. All right, so I was on.
Are you on the video?
Yeah.
Let's see if anything relates to us. Nope. Wait, what? Look. What? I don't remember that. Do you remember that?
No. Let me check my Google. Oh my gosh, it is.
Whoa.
I never noticed that.
What the hell is that? What? What the hell? Can you see that?
Nope, because you're skipping it all.
That means the Sprite one. You'll see. I'll pause on it.
Squirt. Oh god! Wait, what?
The Sprite one. What the hell? I drink Sprite all the time, and this has never been like this. What?
I'm pretty sure it's usually all connected.
Yeah. Wait, what? What? Look what it says about this slime. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
But then look what it says at the bottom. That's what it actually is. What do you remember it as?
Hold on. What did you say?
What do you remember the light that it caught us?
I've never even seen this.
I don't know if you've heard of the meme. And there's a meme that goes around and it pretty much goes, I've come to chew ass and kick bubblegum.
What?
Please help me, I know too many kids.
Into the stream.
Where is it?
Hmm?
Where is it?
Street. What? What? What are you on, Kaden?
IMDb. Now I'm on the Sherwin Williams.
Look at the dolphin was about to come up.
The dolphin one.
Do you remember freshwater dolphins?
Huh?
Do you remember freshwater dolphins?
I never even knew they existed. What are we in the stream?
In a minute. Look at this. What? That's... Have you got to the next one? You're on the horses one. Do you remember wild horses just roaming the US?
Nope.
That's not a number. Surely that's not true. What? What the fuck? Wild donkeys roaming the US? Do you remember any of this?
No, I didn't even know any of this even happened.
I already know about saltwater crocodiles. That's normal. That was trouble. Okay, Hayden, what do you remember?
Yeah.
What do you remember is the nitrogen content of Earth?
What did you say?
What do you remember? What is the nitrogen content of Earth? It's like 70%, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What the?
Okay, yes, normal. Going to end the stream here, guys. Thanks for watching, and